Judas Iscariot, one of the 12 disciples, a man who walked closely with Jesus, heard every teaching, saw every miracle. Pero how come he still betrayed his master? Let's talk about what led to his downfall and what his story means for us today. Welcome brothers and sisters sa isa na namang pag-aaral ng ating Sabbath School lesson. Our topic for this week is Judas Iscariot. Ang memory verse natin sa John 6 verse 70 to 71, Jesus answered them, "Have not I chosen you 12, and one of you is a devil?" He spake of Judas Iscariot, the son of Simon, for he it was that should betray him, being one of the 12. Sa Desire of Ages, page 717, while Judas accepted the position of a minister of Christ, he did not bring himself under the divine molding. He felt that he could retain his own judgment and opinions, and he cultivated a disposition to criticize and accuse. Binabanggit kung papaano si Judas ay humantong dito sa pagbitray kay Jesus. So dito sa talata, merong ilang bagay dito na contributing factor doon sa nagiging final destiny ni Judas. Isa, sabi dito na, he felt that he could retain his own judgment and opinions. Ayaw niyang mabago yung kanyang opinion. Tinuturuan na nga siya ni Jesus kasama yung the whole 12 disciples. Yung iba natuto. Ang problema pala sa kanya is kung ano yung kanyang opinion, ang hirap niyang isuko. Ang hirap niyang palitan, insistent siya, and he cultivated a disposition to criticize. Ito na naman ang another factor sa kanyang downfall. Masyadong critical siya. Pati si Jesus Christ, kini-criticize. Kaya ang hirap po yung may ganitong ugali, mga kapatid. Mapag-criticize. And then, accuse. Ito na naman ang third na nabanggit dito sa talata na cause ng kanyang downfall. Mabilis siyang mag-accuse. Yan po mga kapatid ang tatlo na dapat natandaan natin na dapat iwasan. And this will be highlighted as we are going to proceed with our study. So dito tayo sa first subtopic. First contact. Kailan ba unang nag-contact sina Jesus at Judas? Ang first record of their contact is found in Matthew chapter 8 verse 19. And a certain scribe came and said to him, "Master, I will follow thee whithersoever thou goest." Tinignan ko sa ilang mga komentaryo, different commentators na mga kinikilala na mga Bible scholars. Wala akong nasumpungan na Bible theologian o commentator na nag-identify kung sino itong certain scribe na sinasabi na ito. Walang nakarating sa kaalaman na itong certain scribe dito na lumapit kay Jesus at nagsabi, "I will follow thee whithersoever thou goest," ay si Judas pala ito. Wala. Pero dito po sa ating pag-aaral, ibinunyag ng Panginoon kung sino yung tao na ito. Ito pala ay si Judas, mga kapatid. At siya ay isang scribe. Ibig sabihin, writer. So matalino talaga dahil writer ito, tagapagsulat eh. Yun pala ang background ni Judas. Isa siyang scribe. Hindi siya tinawag ni Jesus eh. Siya ang kusang loob na lumapit kay Jesus at nagpresenta sa kanyang sarili na gusto niyang magiging isa doon sa mga apostle ni Jesus Christ. Dito tayo sa Desire of Ages, page 716 to 717, para malaman natin. While Jesus was preparing the disciples for their ordination, one who had not been summoned urged his presence among them. It was Judas Iscariot, a man who professed to be a follower of Christ. He now came forward, soliciting a place in this inner circle of disciples. So, yung event ng pagtatagpo ni na Jesus at ni Judas was before the ordination of the 12 to become apostles. It was while Jesus was making preparation for their ordination na ito'y lumapit at nagpresent sa kanyang sarili. Judas had joined the disciples when multitudes were following Christ. The Savior's teaching moved their hearts as they hung in trance upon his words, spoken in the synagogue by the seaside upon the mount. Judas saw the sick, the lame, the blind flock to Jesus from the towns and cities. He saw the dying laid at his feet. He witnessed the Savior's mighty works in healing the sick, casting out devils, and raising the dead. He felt in his own person the evidence of Christ's power. He recognized the teaching of Christ as superior to all that he had ever heard. He loved the great teacher and desired to be with him. He felt a desire to be changed in character and life, and he hoped to experience this through connecting himself with Jesus. Nung nakarecruit na si Jesus ng maraming mga disciples, he was planning to ordain certain number of them to become his original apostles, to be the leaders of his church. Ngayon, nagpresenta ito si Judas na gusto niya na magiging one of his inner circle of disciples. At ayon dito, dahil doon sa nakita niya na initial na gawain ni Jesus Christ, na kung saan marami siyang mga miracles na perform. Nakita niya kung papaano pinagaling ni Jesus ang mga may sakit, kung papaano siya nagpalabas ng mga demonyo. Nakita niya kung paano na merong patay na binuhay ni Jesus Christ. Napakinggan niya yung mga aral ni Jesus Christ at nahalata niya na talagang more superior than the teachings of the Pharisees. Yan po ang situation dito. At napaibig din siya. He loved the great teacher. Ibig sabihin, dahil doon sa nakita niya na pag-uugali ni Jesus, pananalita niya, kagandahan ng kanyang mga aral, at saka kabaitan niya, magiging matulungin, at yung kanyang compassion sa mga nangangailangan, napaibig din pala siya. So napakaganda yung beginning. He loved this great teacher and desired to be with him. Tumubo ang kanyang desire na magiging kasama ni Jesus Christ. Gusto din niyang magbago ng kanyang pag-uugali. So nakita niya yung contrast sa ugali ni Jesus Christ at saka yung kanyang ugali. So that was a very good and noble desire on Judas' part. And he hoped to experience this through connecting himself with Jesus. Ang iniisip niya na paraan para matransform yung kanyang ugali na magiging kagaya ng magandang ugali ni Jesus is to connect himself, and by so doing, maranasan niya sana yung transformation ng kanyang pag-uugali. Napakaganda po yung motivation ni Judas sa pag-present ng kanyang sarili na magiging one of the disciple of Jesus Christ. Okay. Second subtopic, accepted into the apostleship. Noong sinabi pala ni Judas, I will follow thee whithersoever thou goest. Ang nagiging sagot ni Jesus Christ sa kanya ay ganito, the foxes have holes, and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man hath not where to lay his head. Tinignan ko rin po yung mga komentaryo ng mga Bible scholars. Ang nagiging conclusion nila dito sa sinabi ni Jesus, ito daw certain disciple, certain scribe na ito na hindi nila alam na si Judas pala, hindi nagiging disciple ni Jesus. Rineject daw ni Jesus Christ. Ang akala nila, hindi siya si Judas dahil wala silang inspiration. Basahin po natin ang paglilinaw sa Desire of Ages, page 294. Judas believed Jesus to be the Messiah, and by joining the apostles, he hoped to secure a high position in the new kingdom. This hope Jesus designed to cut off by the statement of his poverty. So, nung sinasabi ni Judas na, I will follow you wherever you go, nagbigay ito si Jesus ng statement na, the foxes have holes and the birds of the air have nests. This was not a statement of rejection. Actually, may layunin si Jesus kung bakit niya sinabi ito. Kasi, unang-una, nabasa ni Panginoong Hesukristo na meron siyang ambisyon. He hoped to secure a high position in the new kingdom. So kanina, tinalakay na meron din siyang magandang intention for following Jesus. He wanted his character to be changed. He wanted his life to be changed, to be like the character and life of Jesus Christ. Pero meron din siyang another na ambition. And that ambition was, he wanted to secure a high position in the new kingdom. So meron pong good intention, meron din siyang bad ambition. Gusto niya na ma-secure ang mataas na position. That itself is not something really bad. Pero it became bad kasi paano kung hindi mapagbigyan? Yun ang magiging hadlang kasi pag hindi na pagbigyan, madi-discourage talaga siya. Ngayon, sa dalawang ambition, dito sa second ambition na makasecure ng high position, ito ang gusto ni Jesus na i-discourage, mawala sana kay Judas yun. Yun ang intention niya sa pagsagot ng ganyan. Pinakita niya yung kanyang poverty in contrast doon sa gusto ni Judas na ma-secure ang high position. Kasi ang naka-attach doon sa high position, iniisip niya, high position in the kingdom means wealth, riches. Kaya present ni Christ, yung kanyang poverty, mawala sana yung ambition na ito ni Judas. Sa panig naman ng mga disciples ni Jesus Christ, kilala pala nila ito si Judas. The disciples were anxious that Judas should become one of their numbers. Bakit? Ganito kasi ang pagkakilala nila sa kanya. He was of commanding appearance. Ibig sabihin, guwapo, maganda, malusog. Ang tayo niya, noble bearing. And then number 2, a man of keen discernment. Matalas ang kanyang pangunawa. And executive ability. Executive ability means his ability to execute plans. Ayan, maganda. Kaya nga sabihin natin na yung president is the chief executive. Siya ang mag-e-execute doon sa mga program, sa mga batas na pinupundar sa either sa Senado o kaya sa Kongreso. And they commended him to Jesus as one who would greatly assist him in his work. Binabakapan ng mga disciples, tanggapin mo na, magaling ganito, ganyan. Malaking tulong yan kung siya ay magiging kasama natin. They were surprised that Jesus received him so coolly. So tinanggap ni Jesus Christ si Judas na magiging disciple niya, kasama doon sa inner circle of his disciple, pero medyo malamig ang pagtanggap niya. Kaya yon ang pinagtataka nitong mga iba. Bakit ganun? Na hindi siya enthusiastic na tanggapin. Samantalang sila, very enthusiastic na siya ay matanggap. Kasi nga, inaakala nila na kung kasama siya doon, malaking maitutulong. Pero iba kasi yung perception ni Jesus kaysa perception ng mga disciples niya. Tuloy natin. The disciples had been much disappointed that Jesus had not tried to secure the cooperation of the leaders in Israel. They felt that it was a mistake not to strengthen his cause by securing the support of these influential men. If he had repulsed Judas, they would, in their own minds, have questioned the wisdom of their master. The after history of Judas would show them the danger of allowing any worldly consideration to have weight in deciding the fitness of men for the work of God. The cooperation of such men as the disciples were anxious to secure would have betrayed the work into the hands of its worst enemies. So dito mga kapatid, makikita natin ang contrast doon sa pananaw ni Jesus Christ at ng ibang mga disciples niya. Ang mas binibigyan nila ng malaking halaga na qualification ng isang tao na magiging manggagawa ng Panginoon based on the worldly consideration. Katulad ng maimpluwensya, magaling, meron siyang keen discernment, tapos may executive ability, tapos magaling magsalita. Yan usually ang pinagbabasehan ng mga worldly-minded na tao. Normal dito sa mundo na ganun talaga. At kapag sila daw ang namumuno, maganda ang magiging takbo ng gawain ng Panginoon. Pero sa pananaw naman ni Kristo, iba. Although kinikilala niya ang value ng talent ng ganyan, worldly wisdom, executive ability at mga ganyan, pero ang nakikita niya naman na mas mabigat na halaga ay yung karakter ng isang tao. Kasi aanhin mo naman, napakagaling siya sa nagpakagaling na treasurer. Ang galing na mag-treasurer, ang galing na sa bookkeeping. Pero magnanakaw naman, corrupt. Mas mabuti pa yung mahina siya sa treasury work pero tapat kaysa yung magaling sa treasury work sa pagsusulat pero nangungurakot. Ay, pangit 'yun. Kaya character is more important than skill sa gawain ng Panginoon. Okay, yan po ang isang lesson na dapat nating tandaan. Patuloy tayo. Dito sa question B, what is written concerning Judas as an apostle? Dito yung listahan ng mga apostles. Tapos tungkol kay Judas ay nakasulat dito, Judas Iscariot who also betrayed him. So, ang record sa kanyang pagiging apostle is betrayal. Nagkakanulo sa kanyang amo. Sa John 6:34 naman, ganito din. But there are some of you that believe not, for Jesus knew from the beginning who they were that believe not, and who should betray him. Huwag niyong isipin na may contradiction itong sinabi dito kaysa yung sinabi na, di ba yung earlier binasa natin na Judas believed Christ to be the Messiah. Pero may sinabi dito, for Jesus knew from the beginning who they were that believed not. Kung sino sa kanila yung hindi naniniwala. Iba pong mga tao yan yung hindi naniniwala na right from the very beginning, alam ni Christ kung sino yung hindi naniniwala. Pero si Judas, hindi siya kasama doon sa alam ni Jesus na from the beginning, hindi naniniwala sa kanya. Kasi alam niya, naniniwala si Judas sa kanya as the Messiah. Kaya ang gusto niyang maging disciple eh. Pero, ang para kay Judas naman ay ito, who should betray him? Yan. So, yan ang nakasulat tungkol kay Judas, who should betray him. Sa Desire of Ages 717. The Savior did not repulse Judas. O, tandaan natin hindi itinulak ni Kristo si Judas. Hindi siya tinanggihan. He gave him a place among his disciples. He trusted him to do the work of an evangelist. He endowed him with power to heal the sick and to cast out devils. But Judas did not come to the point of surrendering himself fully to Christ. He did not give up his worldly ambition or his love of money. While he accepted the position of a minister of Christ, he did not bring himself under the divine molding. He felt that he could retain his own judgment and opinions, and he cultivated a disposition to criticize and accuse. So yan po ang nagiging downfall ni Judas. Although siya ay nag-present at tinanggap as a disciple, and he was ordained as a minister, and he accepted his position as an apostle na sinugo para mangaral ng ebanghelyo. Pero wala siyang genuine surrender. Hindi niya isinurrender ang kanyang sarili kay Jesus, partial yung kanyang surrender. Sinurrender niya ang sarili niya na magiging disciple, pero yung full surrender na si Jesus ang magiging Lord of his life na mag-rule sa kanya at yung kagustuhan niya ang kanyang susundin, wala kay Judas yun. Hindi full yung surrender niya. Kaya yung kanyang ambition and love of money, he did not give up. Ayun, ito ang kanyang dalawa na nakasira sa kanya. Yung kanyang ambition for position and his love of money. Yan ang kanyang weakness. Marami siyang strengths, pero meron siyang weaknesses. At two of his weaknesses is ito, ambisyoso at saka yung kanyang love of money. Hindi lang pala two. He did not bring himself under the divine molding. He felt that he could retain his own judgment and opinions. Ini-insist niya yung kanyang opinion. Kahit na ito'y kontra sa opinion ng kanyang master. And meron siyang disposition to criticize and accuse. So ano pala yon? Marami siyang weaknesses that led to his downfall. Okay. Question C. How was the betrayal foreseen? Paano daw na-foresee ni Jesus Christ yung kanyang betrayal? Sa John 6 verse 70 and 71, Jesus answered them, have not I chosen you 12 and one of you is a devil? He spake of Judas Iscariot, the son of Simon, for he it was that should betray him, being one of the 12. Simon Peter said unto him, Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head. Jesus said to him, he that is washed needeth not save to wash his feet, but is clean every whit. And ye are clean, but not all. Okay. So yan po mga kapatid. Ang mga statement na nagpapakita na Jesus foresaw that in the future, ito pa lang si Judas ang magbibitray sa kanya. And this was also prophesied in Psalms 41 verse 9. Yea, mine own familiar friend in whom I trusted, which did eat of my bread, hath lifted up his heel against me. Tandaan natin, sabi dito, whom I trusted. Ibinigay ni Kristo ang pagtitiwala kay Judas, pero nabigo si Kristo. It turned out na hindi pala mapagkatiwalaan. Kaya mahirap po yon mga kapatid, yung ang daming nalulugi. Ako, naranasan ko yon, yung ibigay yung pagtitiwala, pagkatapos yung pagkatiwalaan mo, ano pala, siya ang magbibitray sa'yo. Masakit, pero anong magagawa natin? Maintindihan din natin, nasaktan din si Jesus. Naniwala ako na masakit din sa puso ni Jesus na itong pinagkatiwalaan niya sa gawain bilang isang apostle and an evangelist, siya pa ang magbitray sa kanya. So, yan po ang mga katotohanan na ating natutunan dito sa subtopic number 2. So, ito po ay lesson sa lahat ng mga pinagkakatiwalaan ng position sa church, mula sa local church, mission, union, at saka sa general conference. Kapag tayo po ay pinili at binigyan ng position of responsibility, dapat po na gampanan natin by all means. Let us do our best to fulfill our duties. Kung hindi man natin nagampanan ng maayos dahil sa kakulangan ng ating kakayanan, ay hindi bali. Basta ginawa natin yung makakaya natin. Yon ang tinitignan ng Panginoon. Nauunawaan naman ng Panginoon yung ating limitations. And ina-appreciate niya kahit kulang yung ating performance, as long as we did what we could. That is already enough sa Panginoon. At tutulungan niya tayo na habang nagpapatuloy sa serbisyo, our services will increase. So dito tayo sa third subtopic, subtlety of character. Anong character naman pinag-uusapan dito? Yung character ni Judas. Describe the difference between the image of Judas portrayed among the disciples in contrast to his real motive and character. So, dito, ang pinag-uusapan dito, yung bang reputation ni Judas ayon sa pagkakilala ng mga disciples sa kanya at saka yung actual na ugali niya. John 12 verse 6. This he said, not that he cared for the poor, but because he was a thief and had the bag and bear what was put therein. O, ang setting dito mga kapatid, ito ay occasion na kung saan nung si Peter ay nandoon sa bahay ni Simon, maraming mga tao, may pumasok na babae ngayon, meron pala siyang dala na mamahalin na ointment, perfume, tapos ibinuhos doon sa ulo ni Jesus. Tapos yung bango niya nagkalat sa buong kwarto. Nakilala kaagad nila na yung perfume na yon na naibuhos ay isang uri ng perfume o ointment na napakamahal. Ngayon, ang reaksyon ni Judas doon is sinasayang lang ng babae nito ang pera. Mas mabuti pa, ibenta, magiging pera at ibigay sa treasury ng Iglesia ng Panginoon na kung saan siya ang treasurer at yon ay gagamitin para itulong sa mga mahihirap. Pinapakita niya outwardly na he cared for the poor, mapagtulong sa mga nangangailangan. Yun ang image niya sa labas. Dinevelop niya yun eh. Palibhasa siya ang treasurer. So siyempre, pag may mga project, siya ang nagpapalabas ng pera. Nakabuo siya ng isang reputation na matulungin sa mga nangangailangan. But in reality, hindi pala siya totoong ganun. Parang front lang yon. Pero ang totoo, he was a thief. Yung mga pera na kaunti na naiipon, kasi hindi naman malakihan yung pundo ng grupo nila eh. Siya ang tagapaghawak, pero kinukuha pala niya yon. Ginagamit niya, winawaldas niya para sa kanyang sarili. Basahin natin dito ang komentaryo ng Desire of Ages 717. Judas was highly regarded by the disciples and had great influence over them. Mataas ang pagtingin sa kanya kasi hindi nila alam yung pangungurakot niya eh. He himself has a high opinion of his own qualifications and looked upon his brethren as greatly inferior to him in judgment and ability. They did not see their opportunities, he thought, and take advantage of circumstances. The church would never prosper with such short-sighted men as leaders. Peter was impetuous. He would move without consideration. John, who was treasuring up the truth that fell from Christ's lips, was looked upon by Judas as a poor financier. Matthew, whose training had taught him accuracy in all things, was very particular in regard to honesty, and he was ever contemplating the words of Christ, and became so absorbed in them that, as Judas thought, he could not be trusted to do sharp, far-seeing business. Thus Judas summed up all the disciples and flattered himself that the church would often be brought into perplexity and embarrassment if it were not for his ability as a manager. Judas regarded himself as a capable one who could not be overreached. In his own estimation, he was an honor to the cause, and as such, he always represented himself. So napakaganda po yung yung appraisal, yung bang outward na judgment ng mga disciples tungkol kay Judas. At saka sa kanyang sarili din, mataas din ang kanyang pagtingin sa kanyang sarili, lalo na sa kanyang qualification. Pero lingid dun sa kaalaman ng mga disciples, ang ugali niya hindi maganda. Kasi corrupt pala siya. Ninanakaw niya yung pundo ng iglesia ni Kristo. Tuloy natin. The small sums that came into his hands were a continual temptation. Often, when he did a little service for Christ or devoted time to religious purposes, he paid himself out of his meager fund. In his own eyes, these pretexts served to excuse his action. But in God's sight, he was a thief. Oh, anong ginagawa niya? Pag meron siyang ginawa na paglilingkod na maganda, linalagyan niya ba niya ng value yung kanyang ginawa, tapos parang entitled siya na parang sweldo. Nagawa ko ito, dapat mabayaran ako sa ginawa ko na ito. Kaya, wala namang decision si Jesus Christ doon. Wala ding decision mga kasama niya. Siya lang ang nagdidesisyon. Kumukuha siya ng pera doon sa maliit na pundo. O ito, kukunin ko ito, bayad ng aking ginawa na ganito. Yun yung kanyang ginagawa. Siya ang nagswesweldo ng kanyang sarili. Sa tingin niya, hindi siya nakagawa ng pagnanakaw. Angkop lang kasi nakapagawa siya eh. So he should be compensated. Pero sabi dito, in God's sight, he was a thief. Kasi wala namang usapan na every time na meron siyang ginawa, babayaran siya ng ganun. Wala. So pagnanakaw pa rin ang labas. Letter B. On what particular occasion was Judas' character openly manifested? Meron bang mga pagkakataon na yung ugali ni Judas, na yung bang pagiging mapagmahal niya sa salapi ay naihahayag? Meron po, basahin natin. John 12 verse 3 hanggang sa 5. Ito nga yung nabanggit kanina eh. Then took Mary a pound of ointment of spikenard, very costly, and anointed the feet of Jesus, and wiped his feet with her hair, and the house was filled with the odor of the ointment. Then said one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, which should betray him, why was not this ointment sold for 300 pence and given to the poor? Kunwari maganda ito, yung kanyang sinabi. Pero lingid sa kaalaman ng ibang mga tao, yun nga ang paliwanag kanina doon sa John chapter 9. This he said, not that he cared for the poor, but because he was a thief. So diyan lumabas yung kanyang love of money. Matthew 26:14-16. Then one of the 12 called Judas Iscariot went unto the chief priests and said unto them, what will ye give me? And I will deliver him unto you. And they covenanted with him for 30 pieces of silver. And from that time, he sought opportunity to betray him. Dito na naman sa okasyon na ito, na ihayag yung kanyang love of money. Di ba, nabasa natin earlier na Judas loved Jesus. Natuto siya na mahalin si Jesus. Pero mahal din niya ang salapi. In between sa pagmamahal niya kay Jesus at pagmamahal niya sa salapi, mas malakas ang pagmamahal niya sa salapi kaysa kay Judas. Bakit? Dahil tinalikulan niya si Jesus, ibinenta niya doon sa mga pari just for 30 pieces of silver. Yung 30 pieces of silver, mas mahalaga para sa kanya yon kaysa si Jesus Christ. So ganon, ibig sabihin, yung pagmamahal niya kay Jesus, meron, totoo yan, pero maliit lang. Ang lesson dito sa atin, kapag yung pagmamahal natin kay Kristo ay maliit lang, talagang mapapahamak tayo sa bandang huli. Darating tayo sa punto na pag pinagpili tayo, nandito tayo sa crossroad, sa time of persecution. Ano ang gusto mo? Pera o si Kristo? Ano ang mas mahalaga sa inyo? Pag susunod ka kay Jesus Christ, papatayin ka, tutuligsain ka, pe-persecute ka namin, pahihirapan ka namin. Pero kung talikuran mo si Jesus, pagpapalain kayo, bibigyan namin kayo ng proteksyon at susuportahan namin yung pamilya mo. Hindi kayo magugutom, may pagkain kayo sigurado, susuportahan namin kayo financially. Yun ang i-offer. Ang mangyayari dito, pagka mas mahal natin ang salapi kaysa si Jesus Christ, pipiliin natin ang pera kaysa kay Jesus Christ, kagaya ni Judas. Kung ibigay natin ang buong pagmamahal natin sa Kanya, and we will love Him more than anything else, mangyayari mga kapatid, kahit tayo ay mamamatay, mas gustuhin pa natin na mamatay kaysa yung ipagkanulo natin si Jesus Christ. Yan ang karanasan ng mga tinatawag na martyrs. Kahit they were threatened of imprisonment and death and torture, they did not deny their Lord. Bakit? Natuto sila na mahalin ng lubusan si Jesus Christ kaysa mga bagay-bagay na nandito sa lupa. Even their own life. They value the relationship with Christ more than life itself. Yan po ang dapat na abutin natin na sitwasyon, mga kapatid. If we are going to succeed pagdating doon sa great trial na darating na haharapin natin in the time of persecution. And in the future, dito ngayon mai-screen kung sino ang totoong Kristiyano at hindi. Pagdating po ng time ng persecution, diyan makikita kung sino ang totoong nagmamahal kay Kristo. They would rather die than deny their Lord. Yan po ang tunay na Kristiyano. At diyan makikita sa time ng crisis. Okay, tuloy natin. Judas was blinded to his own weakness of character, and Christ placed him where he would have an opportunity to see and correct this. As treasurer for the disciples, he was called upon to provide for the needs of the little company and to relieve the necessities of the poor. In ministering to others, Judas might have developed an unselfish spirit, but while listening daily to the lessons of Christ and witnessing his unselfish life, Judas indulged his covetous disposition. So, meron din pala siyang tinatawag na covetous disposition. Negative traits of character din, yung covetousness. Partner yan ng love of money. Yon po ang nangibabaw. Binigyan pala ng Panginoon ng opportunity to develop an unselfish character and to overcome his selfishness, yung covetousness. Sa paanong paraan na binigyan ni Jesus si Judas ng ganun na opportunity na ma-overcome niya yung love of money at saka covetous disposition, ma-develop yung unselfish love, yung binigay sa kanya na position as the treasurer of the church. Kasi as a treasurer of the church, na masasanay siya na pagbibigay ng tulong. Siya ang gumagawa nun. Sa ganong paraan, matuto sana siya to care more. Yung love niya sa ibang tao ang ma-develop sana at hindi yung kanyang sarili. Kaya lang, nabaliktad ang nangyari dahil Judas indulged his covetous disposition. Mas pinili niya na i-develop yung covetous disposition niya kaysa yung unselfish character na gusto ni Jesus Christ na i-develop niya. Ayan po mga kapatid. So dito tayo sa subtopic number 4, Christ's work in behalf of Judas. How did Christ seek to appeal to the covetous apostle? Appeal na hindi magiging covetous. Paano ba yon? John 12 verse 7 to 8. Then said Jesus, "Let her alone. Against the day of my boring hath she kept this. For the poor always ye have with you, but me ye have not always." Okay. Tinuruan pala ni Jesus Christ si Judas doon sa occasion na yung babae is nagdala ng ointment. Sabi ni Jesus, nagbigay ng gentle rebuke. Let her alone. Hayaan mo lang siya na gawin niya yun. Inihanda niya ito para sa aking burial. Yung concern mo sa mga poor, huwag kang mag-alala niyan dahil the poor are always with you, so you always have the opportunity to help the poor. Pero sa akin, I will not always be with you dahil sinabi ko nga na sa inyo na ako ay pupunta sa Jerusalem, hahuhuliin at ako'y mamamatay. So yung ginagawa niya dito, preparation for my death and burial. So let it be. Huwag kang maghinayang dito. Sa ganito na paraan, rinirebuke ni Jesus yung covetousness ni Judas. Kasi alam na yun ang ugali ni Judas eh. Gusto niyang i-correct. Ito ang paliwanag. The Savior read the heart of Judas. He knew the depth of iniquity to which, unless delivered by the grace of God, Judas would sink. Malulunod si Judas kapag hindi na iligtas dito sa kanyang iniquity. In connecting this man with himself, he placed him where he might, day by day, be brought in contact with the outflowing of his own unselfish love. If he would open his heart to Christ, divine grace would banish the demon of selfishness, and even Judas might become a subject of the kingdom of God. So yan po ang layunin. Ini-educate talaga ni Jesus Christ si Judas. Binibigyan siya ng maraming mga aral para magbago. Iwanan niya yung selfishness at yung matutunan niya sanang ipapractice is yung unselfish love na pinapahayag ni Jesus Christ na yun sana ang tutularan niya. Kaya lang nabigo si Jesus sa kanyang layunin kay Judas. Kaya sabi dito, kung open sana yung puso ni Judas, divine grace would have banished the demon of selfishness. Yung selfishness na nasa puso ni Judas, pwedeng maalis. So yan po ang isang lesson dito mga kapatid. Hindi man naalis yung demon of selfishness, pero ayon po dito sa salita ng Panginoon, pwede sanang maalis yun kung nagiging open lang sana ito si Judas na si Christ, yung grace ni Christ ay magtrabaho sa kanya. Kung pinili niya na isuko ang kanyang buhay ng buong buo, fully, to the doing of God's will, yung pag-ibig ni Christ ang mag-expel sana doon sa demon of selfishness, and then through the grace of Christ, they may become transformed into His image. And even Judas might become a subject of the kingdom of God. Yan po. Tuloy natin. God takes men as they are, with the human elements in their character, and trains them for His service if they will be disciplined and learn of Him. They are not chosen because they are perfect, but notwithstanding their imperfections, that through the knowledge and practice of the truth, through the grace of Christ, they may become transformed into His image. So yung transformation of character, may bahagi ang Diyos, may bahagi ang tao. Hindi tulad ng mga sinasabi na yung naniniwala sa the sovereignty of God. Wala daw kinalaman yung kaligtasan at pagbabago ng karakter ng tao doon sa personal choice, kundi lahat ay by grace, gawain daw ng Diyos, 100% gawain ng Diyos. Ibig sabihin, i-overrule ng power ng grace ng Panginoon yung ating mga weakness without our cooperation. Ayan ang mali, mga kapatid. Dito sa case ni Judas, bakit yung grace ng Panginoon ay hindi nakapag-transform sa kanya? Ba't hindi siya na-transform? Ba't hindi naalis yung kanyang selfishness? Dahil may bahagi ang tao. Pag ang tao ay hindi pumapayag, hindi babaguhin ng Diyos yung tao na ayaw magpabago. Kaya isa po yan na lesson sa atin mga kapatid. Huwag nating i-resist yung grace ng Panginoon. Sabi ng iba, yung Calvinistic doctrine, the grace of God is irresistible. You cannot resist the grace of God. Pero the grace of God can be resisted, mga kapatid. Ito ang nangyari kay Judas. He resisted the working of the grace of Christ in his heart. Pinili niya na i-indulge yung kanyang selfish disposition. Judas had the same opportunities as had the other disciples. Equal opportunity yon sila eh. Yung 12 disciples na ito, they have all equal opportunity to be transformed into the likeness of Christ. Pero bakit hindi na-transform si Judas? Kasi nagre-resist. Yung iba, nagsasubmit, nagsusurrender. Siya ayaw niya. Yan po ang nagiging problema. He listened to the same precious lessons, but the practice of the truth which Christ required was at variance with the desires and purposes of Judas. And he would not yield his ideas in order to receive the wisdom from heaven. O yun, hindi niya isinusuko, ini-yield yung kanyang ideas. O, di ba? Masyadong opinionated. He wanted to retain his own personal opinion against the teaching of God. Yan ang nagiging sanhi ng kanyang downfall. Kaya huwag tayong magiging kampante, mga kapatid, at sasabihin natin na, hindi bali, pa-relax lang ako at total, yung grace of Christ is irresistible. So, let the grace of God just work. Tapos, kahit na anong sinasabi ng Panginoon, gawin mo ito, hindi ka lang nagte-take action. Believe this, ayaw mo namang i-believe kasi yung gusto mo, kung ano yung nasa isip mo, itinutuloy mo lang. O, wala pa rin mangyayari kung hindi mo isuko yung personal opinions mo, yung mga ideas mo, at saka yung desires mo, hindi mo isuko sa Kanya, walang mangyayari. Mababago lang yan with our consent and cooperation. Yan po mga kapatid ang katotohanan. Okay, next dito. How tenderly the Savior dealt with him who was to be his betrayal. In his teaching, Jesus dwelt upon principles of benevolence that struck at the very root of covetousness. He presented before Judas the heinous character of greed, and many times the disciple realized that his character had been portrayed and his sin pointed out, but he would not confess and forsake his unrighteousness. He was self-sufficient, and instead of resisting temptation, he continued to follow his own fraudulent practices. Christ was before him a living example of what he must become if he reaped the benefit of the divine mediation and ministry. But lesson after lesson fell unheeded on the ears of Judas. Jesus dealt him no sharp rebuke for his covetousness, but with divine patience bore with this erring man, even while giving him evidence that he read his heart as an open book. He presented before him the highest incentives for right doing, and in rejecting the light of heaven, Judas would be without excuse. Ginawa na ni Kristo ang lahat na magagawa niya para magbago si Judas. Pero pinili ni Judas talaga na hindi makinig. Ayaw niyang sumunod sa mga instruction ni Jesus Christ. Ayaw niyang i-practice yung pinapakita ni Kristo na mabuti na dapat niyang i-practice by example and by his teaching. Yun ang downfall ni Judas. Last po dito, last na subtopic natin, the final act. When did Jesus make his last effort in behalf of Judas, and what did the unfortunate apostle finally do? Yung final act ni ginawa ni Jesus para tulungan niya si Judas is doon sa panahon ng Last Supper. Sinikap pa rin ni Jesus Christ na i-point out yung kamalian ni Judas, yung fault niya, para sa ganon, ma-realize niya yon at magsisi, i-confess para mapatawad siya, isuko niyang sarili para baguhin siya. Pero hindi niya ginawa yon. Paano pinoint out ni Jesus yung kanyang kamalian? Jesus said to him, kanino yon? To Peter, he that is washed needeth not save to wash his feet, but is clean every whit. And ye are clean, but not all. For he knew who should betray him. Therefore said he, ye are not all clean. So after he had washed their feet, and had taken his garments, and was set down again, he said unto them, Know ye that I have done to you? Ye call me Master and Lord, and ye say well, for I am. If I then, your Lord and Master, have washed your feet, ye also ought to wash one another's feet. Yan. Dito sa chapter 18, basahin naman natin. And Judas also, which betrayed him, knew the place, for Jesus oftentimes resorted thither with his disciples. Judas then, having received a band of men and officers from the chief priests and Pharisees, cometh thither with lanterns and torches and weapons. Jesus therefore, knowing all things that should come upon him, went forth and said unto them, Whom seek ye? They answered him, Jesus of Nazareth. Jesus said unto them, I am he. And Judas also, which betrayed him, stood with them. Okay, basahin natin yung commentary dito. When the mob entered the garden, Judas had laid the way, closely followed by the high priest. Coming close to Jesus, he takes his hand as a familiar friend. With the words, Hail, Master, he kisses him repeatedly and appears to weep as if in sympathy with him in his peril. Jesus said to him, Friend, wherefore art thou come? His voice trembled with sorrow as he said, Judas, betrayest thou the Son of Man with a kiss? This appeal should have aroused the conscience of the betrayal and touched his stubborn heart, but honor, fidelity, and human tenderness had forsaken him. So, yun palang event doon sa Lord's Supper hanggang doon sa event sa kanyang arrest at Gethsemane, yun yung final act na ginawa ni Jesus Christ to try to save Judas by pointing out his error. Una, doon sa Santa Cena, 'di ba yung natapos na hinugasan ni Jesus Christ yung paa ng lahat. Sinabi niya ito, "Ye are not all clean." Okay. Hindi kayo nahugasan lahat, merong isa na hindi. Tapos ang tinutukoy niya yon ay si Judas, na hindi nahugasan. Yon sana, yung pagsabi niya, isang pahiwatig, hindi man diretsahan ang pag-rebuke niya kay Judas, pero pinapahiwatig niya, nabasa niya ang puso ni Judas at nakita niya yung pagkakamali na hindi siya totoo na nag-yield sa kanyang kapangyarihan. Hindi siya totoong nagsisisi. Kaya nahugasan man yung iba, siya ay hindi nahugasan. That should have alarmed Judas na ma-realize niya na siya pala yung hindi nahugasan. Pag nakilala sana niya yon, na-confess yung kanyang kasalanan kay Jesus Christ, di nahugasan sana siya. Pero hindi nagmatigas pa rin. Ang ginawa pa niya, lumabas, doon pa niya ibinenta si Kristo. Tapos doon sa Gethsemane, nung pumunta si Judas kasama yung mga arresting officers na dinala ng high priest, nung pumunta sila doon, linapitan niya si Jesus na parang walang masamang nangyari. Tapos nakipagbeso-beso pa siya. Tapos hinalikan si Jesus Christ na parang normal lang. Pero sinabi pa rin ni Jesus sa kanya, "Betrayest thou the Son of Man with a kiss?" Yun ay diretsa na pagpupunan ni Jesus Christ doon sa kanyang ginawa. Kahit doon sa panahon na yun, hindi pa rin pala binitiwan ni Jesus Christ ito si Judas. Pinahayag pa rin ni Jesus Christ sa kanya yung kanyang ginawa na pagbibitray, pagkakanulo sa kanya. Pero hindi pa rin nahimok ang puso ni Judas. Pero kung kahit pa doon sa last moment na yon, kung siya talaga ay nagsisi, kasi nabulgar na yun sinabi diretso ni Jesus Christ na he was the one who betrayed him. Kung nagsisi pa siya sana doon, maaari pa siyang masalvage. Maaari pa siyang maligtas sana. Yung mahila para hindi siya tuluyan na mapahamak. Pero hindi pa rin nag-respond doon sa effort ni Jesus Christ. So, ang ibig sabihin, ginawa ni Jesus Christ ang lahat na magagawa niya to save Judas, pero si Judas was always resisting the grace of Jesus Christ. Kaya hindi siya naligtas. Kaya hindi totoo na ang grace of God is irresistible. Pwedeng i-resist ng tao yan to their own destruction. So ano ang nagiging final end ni Judas? For resisting continually the grace of God that was shown or manifested to him for his own transformation and character and ultimate salvation. Ano ang nagiging resulta? Nung si Jesus Christ ay na-crucify, ang nangyari mga kapatid, nung siya ay dadalhin doon sa Mount Calvary para ipako, on the way, nakita pala nila na mangled. Ibig sabihin, wasak-wasak yung kanyang katawan. Kasi pala, nagbigti siya, tapos yung kahoy na pinagbigtian niya, medyo marupok. Siguro sanga yun. Sanga. Itinali niya doon sa sanga na akala niya ay makakayanan. Nung namatay siya, sa bigat niya ay nabali yung sanga, nahulog siya, pagkatapos hayop ang kumain sa ibang bahagi ng kanyang katawan. Basahin po natin ito. Later that day, on the road from Pilate's hall to Calvary, there came an interruption to the shouts and cheers of the wicked throng who were leading Jesus to the place of crucifixion. As they passed a retired spot, they saw at the foot of a lifeless tree the body of Judas. It was a most revolting sight. His weight had broken the cord by which he had hung himself to the tree. In falling, his body had been horribly mangled and dogs were now devouring it. Kinain ng aso ang ibang bahagi ng katawan ni Judas dahil nung nabigti, namatay, nahulog, ayun, kinain. Yon ang nagiging final end ng isang tao na nagsimula ng maayos. He started very, very well. He started to walk in the right path, in the narrow way. Pero hindi siya nagpatuloy hanggang sa wakas. Bakit? He did not allow the grace of God to transform him. Dahil masyado niyang binabalyo ang kanyang opinion, hindi siya nag-surrender sa kanyang sarili, tapos hindi niya isinuko yung kanyang selfishness, yung kanyang covetousness, kundi he indulged and cherished his love of money and his covetousness, at si Jesus ang kanyang ipinagkanulo. Mas minahal niya ang pera kaysa kay Jesus. Mas pinahalagahan niya yung kanyang opinion kaysa yung teaching ni Jesus Christ. Mas pinahalagahan niya yung kanyang defect of character kaysa yung character ni Jesus Christ na pwede naman niyang i-adapt. Yun po ang nagiging problema kay Judas. So dito po nagtatapos yung ating lesson tungkol kay Judas Iscariot. Isang lesson ang nais ko pa na idagdag na matutunan natin. Ang sabi, not all that starts well ends well. And second, the grace of God is not irresistible. Man can resist the grace of God. Ang salvation, mga kapatid, pagdating doon sa salvation from the penalty of sin, wala tayong cooperation. It is all Christ ang gagawa niyan. Pero pagdating dito sa salvation natin from the power of sin that is working in us, there is a need of cooperation between man and God. Okay. Pagdating sa salvation from the penalty of sin, ulitin ko, Panginoon lang, by the grace of God lang yun. Wala tayong cooperation. Pero pagdating dito sa salvation from the power of sin that is controlling us, that is pushing us to do evil, maliligtas lang tayo dito if we cooperate with God. Yan po ang katotohanan, mga kapatid. So huwag tayong magkamali sa ating mga tinatahak at huwag tayong mag-give up. Kinakailangan po natin na isuko ang ating sarili sa Panginoon pag tayo ay nanampalataya. All the way hanggang sa wakas. At anytime, kapag hindi tayo mag-surrender ng ating sarili, ikapapahamak po natin yan, mga kapatid. So tandaan natin ang mga lessons na ating pag-aralan, huwag po natin tularan ang downfall ni Judas. I hope na tayo po, mga kapatid, ay magtatagumpay kagaya ni Apostle Peter na bagamat bumagsak din siya, pero bumangon at isinuko ang kanyang sarili kaya't naging matagumpay siya. Thank you very much for listening to our lesson. Kung hindi pa po kayo nakasubscribe at hindi po nakapag-follow, please subscribe and follow sa ating webpage at ang ating YouTube channel.